Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome all of you to the Pravasi Bhartiya Divas, which has become an annual platform for us to engage in a series of conversations which span almost the every spectrum of activity which we as human beings undertake. Almost a decade ago, if I remember correctly, a need was felt that it is imperative that the energies of the diaspora need to be leveraged and synergized into the process of national reconstruction in India. And this impetus did not really stem from the government of India per se, but I must confess was more driven by the non-resident Indian community, people of Indian origin, who felt that they had a value addition to make. They required or they could make a contribution to India's development. And so therefore, the appropriate platforms and structures needed to be put in place. It was in that context that the Ministry of Overseas Indians was created to specifically cater to the concerns and the aspirations of a very large diaspora which is scattered all across the globe and fortunately, with God's grace, doing extremely well. I'm pained to note that notwithstanding the effort which has been put in, there continue to be aberrations which stifle attempts by PIOs and the diaspora to connect with their motherland in a more seamless manner. And to the young lady out here, my apologies, both profound and sincere, that notwithstanding our efforts, she had to go through an experience which, in the manner in which she described it, obviously would not have been pleasant. But I can assure you that I've taken note of your concerns and they would be flagged and flagged properly for appropriate action. So therefore, if there has been an indiscretion, please be rest assured that now that you've brought it to our attention, it's something which is not going to go uninquired into, or it would not go unactioned. With regard to the aspirations of the diaspora youth, I don't think in the time and age that we live in, it's possible to now make those segregations between resident youth and diaspora youth. And for the simple reason that over the last 2 decades, the world that we live in, especially from a connect paradigm, has completely transformed itself. While we continue to live in Westphalian entities or sovereign states, where border controls, visas, immigration paradigms still continue to be a reality. But then there is another concurrent reality which has made the world seamless, and that has been the march of technology, which now enables people to traverse and encompass whatever physical boundaries or whatever physical barriers may be there, in order to not only connect with each other, but become a part of a global conversation. One of the greatest innovations, possibly in the history of humankind, has been the internet. And I keep telling my friends that perhaps this was the largest experiment in anarchy, and it has succeeded. At no point in time in the history of humankind has so much power been there concurrently at the hands or in the hands and at the disposal of so many people around the world. The internet today represents the largest ungoverned space on planet Earth. Every 2 days, more data is created than possibly from the dawn of civilization till about 2003. And so therefore, the world that we live in is a world which is marked by the equilibrium of two civilizations. A physical civilization which has emerged over the millennia, and a virtual civilization which is evolving as we speak. And that possibly gives young people, because not only are they tech savvy, not only are they more adaptable to the instruments of technology, but possibly more importantly, they have the passion and the desire in order to learn, in order to connect, in order to talk to other young people with possibly similar aspirations around the world. And the one thing that I have possibly encountered in my travels over the last 2.5 decades or more, especially since I had the privilege way back in the 90s of heading the International Union of Students, which was possibly the only global body of student organizations in existence, is that young people the world over have one common aspiration. And that common aspiration is to make a life for themselves, and in that process, possibly make this world a better place. And therefore, there is a lot to learn from each other. There is a very fertile field for an interface of both ideas and experiences. And I think this platform which the Pravasi Bhartiya Divas provides should really broad base itself, should really expand, whereby in addition to the formal connect, the non-formal connect, the interface between young people who come here as delegates, from countries around the world, and our own young students in schools and colleges and universities should get to meet each other a little more frequently in a more unstructured manner, so that an unstilted and an animated conversation can flow. I can possibly go on and on this particular theme, but I guess it'll be far more important and far more productive if we can have an interactive session in the time that we have at our disposal. Once again, I would like to welcome all of you, and I do hope for our friends who've come from around the world, this would be a productive engagement, this would be a constructive engagement, this would be a meaningful dialogue, and both the Pravasi Bhartiya community and people who live here in India would be benefited by this exchange, which has now assumed a proper, structured and an institutional paradigm. Thank you very much. Once again, I would like to thank the Ministry for Overseas Indians for hosting the Pravasi Bhartiya Divas, and for to the officials in the ministry for giving me an opportunity to come here and talk to all of you. Thank you very much.